So, for the second episode on my channel, I'm going to talk about books that are perfect for people who don't usually read. So, I'm going to talk about 3 books. Each of those are really good for people who don't read because they're easy to read and they're easy to catch on with the ideas. So, the first book I'm going to talk about, it's called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You may know it because of the movie, but the book is actually very more interesting and it's really easy to read and easy to understand. I recommend this book for anyone who is, well, of course, really young because it's a kid's book actually, but also who doesn't read and wants to start doing a little bit of hard reading because it's kind of a couple hundred pages book. So yeah, that's the first book I would recommend. The second one, it's a book that I read this year and I thought it was really interesting, but also with a really easy book to read. It's called Lord of the Flies by William Golding. And it's a book about kids who get stuck in an island during the Second World War, and they have to deal with each other and they have to become something that they weren't used to. And I really like this book, and I think it's really interesting for people who don't actually read a lot because it doesn't have a lot of hard vocabulary and the ideas are really simple and really raw. The last book I'm going to talk about, it's called The Hound of Baskerville by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. This is the author, if you didn't know, that writes the novels about Sherlock Holmes. This one isn't the exception. So, in this novel, Sherlock and Watson have to go to a town to solve some murders that have been happening. However, people in the town they go to in England think that the murders are being cautioned by a hound. Of course, Sherlock doesn't believe that, and Watson neither, because it's like really apart from reality that a hound, can cause 2 murders and even more throughout the book. But it might be surprising for you because books of Sherlock Holmes have a lot of plot twists and you might find that interesting. It also has really easy vocabulary, and the edition that I read personally had drawings and that made it easier to understand. So that's the end for this video. For the next video, I'll be talking about some books that have really changed history. You might wonder, how can a book change history? They're just really vague things that don't even talk to us, or at least that's what we think. So the next episode I'll be talking about that and more other things. Thank you. And for the bonus, since this video it's really short, I'm gonna talk about my 3 favorite authors of all time. So how do I pick a favorite author? Well, it's not just based on one book. I have to read a lot of books from this author to define it as one of the ones that I most like. So, my 3 favorite authors without an order would be Ernest Hemingway, who's written really good books, and I like them because they have this deep message that throughout the book just keeps growing bigger and bigger. Another author I'd like, it's Dan Brown. He writes the Da Vinci Code or The Origin and all these mystery books. He usually uses the character of Robert Langdon, and this is a guy who knows a lot of history and everything, and he solves crimes. I really like this because I think it's something different to show intellect as a mean for strength and to solve atrocious things that like the ones that happen on those books. And the third author I really like, it's Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Of course, because he's Colombian, so I can really intertwine with him and connect to him. But also I like his books because he tells in a really nice way, for say, the tragedies that have been rooting our country for years and years. So I really like the way he can represent such evil things in such a magical realism way. That's the name of the genre he writes. Thank you.